in the previous game, outside of the Gangplank pick, but where it's going to come a lot down to what the Gragas can get done before the Karthus comes online. Because we know what happens if Yasuo gets ahead. We know what happens if a Akali gets ahead, or Renekton, and Aatrox. Those champions dominate with leads. But Karthus is a terrifying factor to consider.
It definitely is, especially when you have an assassin like Akali. Akali takes 90%, Karthus will finish the job, but it will be up to Cajal and the rest of Excel to sort of have an impact here in this early game. I'm looking for Cajal to play around his solo lanes, actually. I think Expect and Special have the ability to sort of swing these matchups if given the right support and try to take things over here early on.
And always in the early game, where are the junglers going to go? Karthus, we can just expect to farm up at the Gragas, of course, with Predator, nonetheless. Can look for some of these big, aggressive plays. Fourth match of the day, it is, of course, Excel versus Vitality. Vitality looking to lock in second place. They're going to need to find every win they can get here in Week 9. And Ender, I don't know where to go. I'm going to be honest. Normally, my first thing, the thing I always secret here, folks, I lane and I pray my talking about. Faith in your lane, Ender, but I don't know what to talk about first, so guide me.
All right, well, I want to start off with Mowgli in particular, because when we look at Mowgli, he's a guy that loves to play high-impact early-game junglers. He likes to go for counter ganks, a lot of aggressive plays around the top side of the map, and this is actually his first Karthus game of the entire split. Now, Vitality, they played the Karthus one time before, but they actually gave it to Jizuke in the mid lane. So in this game, up against Excel, Vitality are trying something new here with Mowgli on more of a scaling pick, and I'm curious to see how that sort of impacts the rest of the team around here.
Because I'll be honest, Ender, it doesn't really feel like it fits into his wheelhouse. Because to quote a jungler who will remain unnamed, Mowgli's a psychopath. Mowgli will go into your jungle, will take one buff from you, and then will spend the rest of the game living in your jungle to make sure you can never go anywhere on the map. And that means he doesn't get to do anything either, but he's content to take you out of the game. Now, Karthus, that's not really how the champion works. He needs some time. He wants to scale up. He's not going to go live in the jungle like an Olaf would.
And yet, Karthus is getting a lot of kills with just one action right there with the ultimate coming in from long range. But looking at Mowgli, this doesn't seem like a pick that you would expect him to be going for in the jungle. But I think it is important for Vitality to sort of try some new things out as Jizuke smashes Special here in the mid lane. Now, this matchup does get pretty exciting, I think, and I think it's actually very Akali favor, which is why it was interesting to see picked up against it, because you see how Akali plays at sort of range. He really has an advantage when it comes just spamming out those Qs from long distance. You can sort of build up an advantage in the early levels here up against Yasuo.
And one thing that people forget about Akali so often, Ender, is just the raw power that is in her passive. And so if Yasuo tries to follow up and even out a trade after a 5-point strike hits, it's not going to go in his favor. But that's not the important part at this point, because we do see Attila and Jacktroll, despite leashing in that exchange on the bottom side, Jessica getting first to lane, still they're able to find the push.
Yeah, and a little bit of it is because this map is being sort of split at the moment. Cajal knows he wants to have more pressure up here for Expect on the top side of the map, so he goes from his wolves to his blue to the enemy top side, while Mowgli steals away this red buff, seeing Cajal on a ward, no doubt, but he doesn't actually stick around for any more than that, which is a little bit surprising, because now if he goes back to his wolves and then back towards his top side, Cajal may very well have just taken all of those camps by the time he actually gets up there.
Interestingly though, Akali already burning through all of her pots here in the early game, and Yasuo, of course, with the Dorans at this point, the pot's gone, will be stronger in the individual 1v1, at least in terms of raw stats, the extra health and lifesteal present on the Doran's blade. Special now getting quite aggressive. Jizuke not able to land the necessary abilities there. And Yasuo's actually starting to take this lane over a little bit.
Yeah, so we've seen this matchup played out over in the LEC. I can't remember who it actually was piloting the two champions, but what happened in this matchup was very early levels. Akali got the push, got the sort of pressure advantage with a little bit of poke here. But what happened then was Special, or rather the Yasuo at level 6, has a lot of kill threat if he's able to land some Qs.
Still needs to get out. Now trying to run. Unbreakable is gone. Jespa, is he going to step forward here? Does manage to make it to safety, but that's both summoners burn. Now, of course, the flash and ignite on the opposite side, as well as the flash from Jessica. So I guess a positive trade, but going to miss out on a lot on the bottom side.
Yeah, pretty rough there from Attila, who lost both his flash and his heal, and I'm curious to see if Cajal can make something happen, as here comes Mowgli for the lane game.
Slice and die. Press the attack now procced. Expect running for his life. Looking for the Skittle. Where's it going to go? The flash out as well as the dash there. Well played by Expect to make it to safety, but they do get the flash in the end.
And he's out of range.
And that's all it takes sometimes, but we are seeing Mowgli still find some of these ganks in the early game on the Karthus. Not something that we always expect. Kadril, on the other hand, his bot lane's already winning. His mid lane's already winning. So he doesn't really get to go anywhere to gank right now.
Yeah, he just sort of has to farm it up. He took away the enemy Raptors earlier on into the game, but I actually... My eyes keep getting brought back to this mid lane because the matchup is not going exactly how I expected it to, and I think actually a lot of it comes down to the keystone choice here from Jizuke. He went for the Electrocute, which is much higher in terms of burst damage at that level 6 mark, but usually in this matchup, we're going to see Akali's go for the Fleet Footwork, which gives them some more sustain in the matchup, but also makes it easier to proc your passive. Here we go, we're going to find 2v2.
Kadril on Predator, a lot of the damage, going to extend the trade. Maybe could look for the 1-for-1, but does not want to trade his life. Has the red buff. Does know he has a massive health advantage here. Quick retreat. Jizuke ready to punish. The flash forward. First blood. Well played by Kadril. A lot of patience there, but now Jizuke can look to try to find the follow-up. Yasuo now stepping forward. The Ignite's already down. Jizuke desperate to find the kill here. Special can look for the follow-up as well. Maybe able to turn this into a 2-for-1 in the favor of XL. Jizuke, where go? Now goes for the stealth. Ooh, Special not even going to follow up. Well played by Jizuke.
Because Jack Troll was on the roam. They actually excel bot lane. Jessica and Mystinks had reset earlier, so Jack Troll made the rotation up and got Jizuke out of there scot-free. Now, we'll see this one more time because Kadril actually plays this pretty well at the start. You know, he takes a brilliant trade against Mowgli, holds his Q so it does extra damage after cooking on the ground, and then Mowgli, who doesn't have the flash because he traded it for Expects in the top lane, just gets blown up right here by Kadril, and Jizuke wasn't quite close enough to trade back. Now, Jizuke does end up trading for the kill because Expect was a little bit far away to try and help out, and with a last-second, oh, nice kill right there. With a last-second Shroud coming back up, he's able to disengage and get back to Jack Troll.
And Special, of course, doesn't give it the flash because, as you noted, bot lane already on the roam up, but Kadril finding a kill here, going to be important in the early game, is going for a bit more AP in the build. Runic Echoes to kick it off. So if he does get a lead, he's actually going to hurt a lot at that level 6.
Yeah, he definitely will, but I'm not sure exactly how worth that was because Kadril got the first blood by himself, but the kill actually went onto Jizuke on the other side of things, who was struggling and still continues to struggle in terms of CS in this middle lane. So having that extra gold is going to bring him up just about even here with Special, which is going to be a pretty big help for him now that he's reaching that level 6 mark when Akali has a lot more around the map with the ult.
And of course, both these champions very strong on their first items, enter whatever Zeal item Yasuo decides to go for, and of course, Gunblade most likely going to come in for the Akali. A lot of burst damage, a lot of sustain, and for Yasuo, of course, just really disgusting scaling on that champion. Attack speed, crit, really everything sinking nicely into his build. But checking in on the map, looking across the board, mid lane, of course, very explosive, but top lane relatively even, bot lane relatively even as well. So outside of the mid lane, still a very close game.
Yeah, and that sort of brings up the question of scaling, you know, like who do you actually favor as we look further and further into the game, and I can't help but favor the side of Vitality. I think the Vayne, one of the misconceptions with Vayne is that she's a very strong late game champion, but that's not really true. Where she comes online most is the 2-item spike when she finishes her Blade of the Ruined King and her Ginsu's. That means that she's proccing her Silver Bolts double speed. As here comes...
Knockup does connect. Kadril now looking for the follow-up. Is immediately knocked back. Well played by Attila to hold on to that Condemn for Kadril. Does dissuade the fight there. But you're right, the double proc, once you get Ginsu's on the Silver Bolts, it's just so much damage, and either tank or not, because it's true damage, and you're just going to die so quickly.
Yeah, and ever since the change to her ultimate, which basically said you're going to refund 50% of the cooldown every time you press Q and then auto attack, well, Vayne's sort of slipperiness in these mid-game skirmishes has been heightened a whole lot. And when you consider you're going to have an Aatrox, a Grog, Yasuo, even a Rakan all diving for you and trying to kill this low-range AD carry, having that stealth and that low cooldown mobility tool is going to be very important for Attila to stay alive.
But it is a lot of pressure onto Attila to execute, because we look at the opposite side, we look at Excel. Some of their most successful games are these games where they have Yasuo with some solid setup. There's a Rakan there, there's a Gragas there, and all it takes is for Vayne not to be invisible when she gets hit by a knockup, for Yasuo to just immediately go in.
Now I have to bring up the lane assignments here from Vitality because Cabochard and Jizuke have called for the swap. And we know that, you know, Renekton isn't supposed to have a fantastic time in the 1v1. That's been going all right. Actually, it's about the mid lane.
Cabochard now go in. Cabochard going to use the ultimate special now, running for his life. Misses the Q there and is going to have to try to dash to safety. Wind wall's there. Wants the reset. Can't get it. That means Cabo is going to walk away with the kill. Jaxtrol there to extend the play, but the option, not going to happen.
Oh man, Special just got slammed right there. Cabochard with a point-and-click CC on this Renekton is now Jizuke is a little bit trouble in the 1v1.
And a Shuriken flip his way out of there. He's going to use the second half of the ulti as well. But Ender, that swap, I think, definitely caught Excel off guard, and Special was not ready for the sheer amount of damage the press the attack Renekton could do.
Yeah, it was really, really nice right there. And if you think about how, you know, Yasuo sort of wants to play his trades, it's with Q spam from range, and then you run around, you land another Q, and then you have your third, and that gives you a lot more all-in threat. Well, Cabochard will just take him blow for blow in these fights. You can see the slow into stun, basically point click here, means there's no chance for Special, and Cage will sort of knock in Mowgli in there, made sure that Special was going to fall down.
And whenever we talk about these respective teams, I feel like top lane always comes up. Now, Jizuke, of course, going against the top laner is an interesting twist on this game, but Expect and Cabo are two names that we always look at because Expect has been such a strong point overall for the Excel lineup, and Cabo on the opposite side has been, well, we've said it before. Just look at the CSD, look at the damage, and more importantly, look at the forward percent. This man lives on the enemy side of the lane. He is
best top laner in the LEC, hands down, I think. And it comes off of so many consistent performances where he's always giving up a CS lead, and his team has faith in him. They always give him sort of these strong matchups in the top lane. A lot of time they'll look for counter picks, but this game it was about early prioritization on towards the Renekton to secure him a very strong 1v1 champion, and once again, he's performing.
And the threat of the Aatrox was there, and they were willing to pick. Shows a lot for the confidence of the team. Opposite side for Excel. Been a similar story, often giving Expect these very solid matches, but Special now has to run. Things are only getting harder for him. Is he going to be able to walk away from this one? Ulti is up for Mowgli. Now they're going to try to turn on the Cabochard. This is a very risky play, but he just uses the ultimate, and he's going to walk away. You cannot face check a Renekton. That's like Renekton 101.
I mean, he's just 1v2ing casually while Mowgli is trying to call in the Requiem. Oh man, Vitality, the lane swap is working so well for these guys. They're gonna get killed.
They're gonna get another one. How?
Okay, listen.
Ender. Go. Just tell me what just happened here.
Okay, well, what just happened? We're probably going to take a replay to figure that one out because, again, it's Mowgli working around Cabochard. Usually it's top lane, now it's mid lane, and you can see there's really no counterplay for this Yasuo. He's barely able to survive and get out, but then they make the call, let's go for the all-in. He's squishy enough, but Cabochard pops the dominance, gets so much healing off of the empowered Q, and is able to turn it right back around on towards that Yasuo. Now, I mean, Vitality are a team that are no strangers to lane swaps. Remember back to Summer Split 2018. They were pulling off lane swaps, putting, you know, Jizuke Lulu into the top lane, Cabochard Darius into the mid lane. They're used to this. They know their matchups inside and out. And to see them call this one off at, you know, the 7-minute mark and get mid lane, start dominating Special is really impressive to see.
And it's a way back. For a long time, this game looked very even in the early game, for the first few minutes at least, and now things are very much shifting into the favor of Vitality. And we've mentioned it before. We mentioned it in the draft, Ender. When these champions start to snowball on either side, they are so terrifying, so impossible to deal with.
Oh my, I mean, Jizuke just knew exactly how much damage he could do right there. He Expect was at 100% HP, and Jizuke led with a flash into ultimate to completely burst him down from 100 to 0.
Absolutely brutal. And things are only going to get harder. We have to remember in the last play, Special walked in there with boots too. This man has double Doran's Blade. This is not the sign of a Yasuo that is doing well. Of course, not as bad off against the Akali as he was against the Renekton, but still a very difficult matchup to play. And Expect was like, hey, weren't we just even like 3 minutes ago? Why do you suddenly have a black cleaver over me?
Yeah, all of a sudden it doesn't feel very fair, right? As Vitality ends. Now the question is, why do Vitality go back to standard lane assignments? And I think it does get a little bit interesting because I would have thought that Vitality would have stayed with the 1v1s that were working for them.
But I think you have to consider the value of a roaming Renekton versus a roaming Akali. Much easier to set up plays with that Akali. Wonder if that's what they're thinking, but the Herald is going to move bot lane, so Excel, while they're losing out on some of these individual matchups, are going to move for a larger team play. Yasuo is there. A lot of tools to set up the knockup if they want to go for it, and that is going to be tower taken down. So the gold now starting to even out.
And I think Excel have sort of figured out what's working for them in this game. And right now that's bot lane. Even though across both sides it's 0-0-0 for all of those members, they have a lot of pressure in this lane. You have Jessica building up a CS advantage in the 2 versus 2 like you would expect Lucian to the Vayne, and now as soon as they get that tower, they're trying to get out of that 2v2 lane, come up top side, because for Excel it's all about bailing their solo laners out of a tough. Expecto's going even, but Cabochard is all of a sudden dominating in this 1v1, so they bring up the duo now to try and combat this Renekton 2v1.
Difficult spot. Now Mystique's going to leap forward. They desperately want to lock up Cabochard. Of course, has the ultimate available with the Ignite ticking down. Not going to stop the health from going up, but it will stop Cabo from getting anything out. A great shutdown, but it goes onto the Rakan.
The Ignite right there. Scumbag stealing it over there for Mystiques, but now it turns into this sort of lane swap race as both teams go for these outer towers, and you have to feel this massively benefits Excel. Not only are they getting out of these 1v1 matchups across the board, but they're also trading up with a shutdown towards Cabochard. They're trading turrets evenly and also stealing away some jungle camps from the Vitality side.
And the story ender for Vitality this season has definitely been one of improvement. It feels like they have been ramping up. They have been getting better. You can see that in their gold differences in the early game, almost 2K on average. But this is not one of those games where they are dominating, where they are blitzing their opponents and finding these kills early. This is a much closer, much more even matchup than many people expected. Zoop the chase. Oh, you can just... Sometimes you don't get to push buttons in League of Legends, and that was one of them.
They'll say, you know, the individual matchup's not working. Let's just bring 4 people into the mid lane and take the third and final outer turret of the game. Excel down in kills, but up 2,000 in terms of overall gold, puts them in a great position.
2K up, 3 towers to 1. You said it already, Ender, and I just think when you look at this, we've looked at the Excel project, and they've had good weeks, and they've definitely had their fair share of bad weeks. But this is a very good sign for the team overall, that not only are they playing pretty well in some of these individual matchups, but as a team, they're now together. Now, my concern, my dear friend, is when we take a look at that mid lane itemization, and I don't see a static shiv, I don't see a Phantom Dancer, heck, I don't even see a rapid fire cannon. I'd be willing to take it. I see a Wit's End. Please, brilliant analyst of mine, run me through it. How's this?
So Dracos, Yasuo has a pretty cool passive.
Yeah.
You know what his passive is?
It gives him a shield.
One of them is it gives him a shield. The other one is whenever he buys crit chance, he doubles it.
What about magic resist, attack speed, and/or on-hit effects?
You do not double any of that.
Oof.
Yep. So crit chance is usually the option for the Yasuo. You know, MR. And like MR is cool, but not as cool as crit.
We can humor him. It will give him MR. There is a Karthus and an Akali on the opposite side. That's scary. Attack speed, still very good. Reduces that Q cooldown. Very, very strong attack speed. Attack speed and crit, stronger. But we'll see how this works out for special. Maybe this will be enough tankiness to survive some of these exchanges. But for now, I think we remain justifiably skeptical.
I appreciate your pop. Not buying it.
Tell him how you feel, Ender. Unleash. If there was ever a time it is Vitality Excel week 9.
If you could have a 100% crit chance off 2 items, would you take it?
I think yes is the answer for most people.
All right, I'm glad we settled that.
Oh, here we go. Now the engage comes into the mid lane. Re-engage from Jack Troll. He's trying to find the charm. That's 2-man, and Mystique's now going to leap out. A lot of damage onto Jack Troll, but no kill. Do get the ignite in the end, and no summoners burned on the side of Excel, although both ultimates now used.
We've seen this so much in the 2v2 where Mystiques goes in, Jessica gets a really nice trade.
Oh, there's the combo. Cabochard, is he going to be able to push off? Now he's going to be able to get the empowered healing on the Cold to make the stun immediately to follow up. He now needs to run, but the Yasuo's not even going to push a button again. Cabo is cutting through him. Oh, buys a little time. TP coming in. Con here as well, but Cabo is still alive. He now needs to dash his way out to safety. He's trying to sidestep. He's trying to dip, duck, dog, and weave, but he can't touch anybody, so he gets killed.
Excel gonna bring in the TP, bring in the bottom lane as well, and they make the trade go overall even, which honestly, given that situation, is a very good thing because they keep trying to attack Cabochard, and it keeps not really working because Renekton is so strong in these sort of small skirmish scenarios where the sustain from his Q, his ultimate, gives him so much value. We can see it one more time that even though Excel immediately looked to burst him down, he can pop the ultimate, he has full fury, so he heals a little bit off of that Q as well, and Mowgli was right there to try and turn that around.
Why did this man push wind wall?
I don't know.
What was he winning? Anyway, obviously fantastically played, and you can see why so many teams are banning this Renekton away. It is such a terror, and when this champion was released, it was awful. But then it got buffed right after that, and I remember just thinking it was impossible to win lanes, it was impossible to gank this champion. It felt so impossible to play against. It was like the Urgot of Season 3. And now we're seeing it come back, and I'm remembering the early days and why you never want to play against this champion.
Yeah, it's really unfun in the 1v1, but it does bring some pretty legitimate weaknesses to the 5 versus 5, because one of Renekton's biggest problems is target acquisition in the mid to late game, because it's really hard to actually get onto the enemy backline with this Renekton pick. All of your mobility is very telegraphed forward. He's very low range as well, so he becomes a very easy champion to peel away when you have 5 members there. But if he can take a 2v2 or a 3v3, he's going to have a field day.
Absolutely. Of course, also struggles to build Fury outside of the laning phase, so things get a little bit harder. Ult does mitigate some of that. Mowgli now spotted out, but they're not going to look for an engage over the wall. Don't want to try it. Of course, Akali is waiting in the wings. Now it is still a 1K gold lead and 2 Drakes up for the side of Excel, but they have to be careful. At this point, a lot of the reasons that they're not further ahead is because they keep trying to go for these incredibly aggressive plays onto the Renekton. They definitely need to calm down, get a few more items, and wait to scale up, as some crit chance is now in the back pocket of our boy Special.
Oh, baby, the Zeal's giving him 30% crit. He's fine.
That's all he needs.
He's going to be getting more. He's going to finish that one off.
Some people like the Ender, some people like to take the gamble. You never know. You know, 3 out of 10 auto attacks are going to crit. That's enough for him.
I've seen better odds.
Yeah, definitely. Though it's interesting because this game is, I think, once again, much closer than we expected, and does lend credence once more to Excel being kind of these underdogs that a lot of people have underestimated. And you look at some of their worst games and you go, oh, that makes sense. But then you look at some of these games where they are able to contest top teams, like their matchup against G2, and now this matchup against Vitality, and you see a lot of the strengths for this team now coming together as Attila was just forced to heal away, giving so much respect over to that Rakan.
Yeah, this matchup definitely not looking too hot for Attila just yet, but he's still trying to work on that Ginsu's. I mean, I like that you bring up sort of the improvement of Excel and their ability to contest with some of the top teams in League, because honestly, their early game has always looked pretty good. With Cajal working, now Jizuke gonna see if he can try to finish off Special.
Really trying to make this happen. Now dashing forward, Special is going to be in trouble, needs a 3rd Q stack, but does not find Akali. They are going to back off as they see Cajal waiting. Rest of Vitality now on the way.
And that's a little taste of the Akali versus Yasuo, because honestly, Jizuke should continue to dominate him in the side lane, and that's going to give Vitality a lot of tools now, as they have a super strong Renekton, they have an Akali that can take Special toe-to-toe in the side lane as well. Vitality can look to try and split the map up. The difficulty for them right now is that without pressure in the 2v2, they lose control over mid. That means Excel can just straight up take turrets in there, and they can't make the split happen.
And yeah, you talk about how strong these champions are in the skirmish, but if Excel never give him the champ, it's just not going to be able to happen. Ender, of course, Excel now 4 towers to 2, keeping the pressure advantage. Yes, they lose out on some of these 1v1s, but Vitality have not been able to find them in the last few minutes, and now Excel looks like they will be able to take this one uncontested. Will Vitality go for a larger play here? They spot out Special. Baron is up and on the table, but a lot of vision there, and very early to go for a greedy Baron.
Excel just took their 3rd uncontested Drake of the game. They're in a very solid position, especially considering it's the Mountain. And at the 20-minute mark, when you're looking to sort of transition into that next big objective, which is the Baron, Mountain Drake is one of the best to have at your disposal. So can Excel actually work around this objective in the coming minutes? Because I think they have those tools and the strength on these 2-item spikes to be able to do so.
The question is, can they continue to stop these solo lanes from struggling? Special, though, now feeling quite confident. 3rd stacks up on the Steel Tempest. That's when Yasuo does get really scary. If you can leap onto him without the Q stacks, he's not really a threat for the Akali. But if he does have that Tornado stacked up, he can turn a fight quite quickly. Reset on the passive, of course, incredibly important. And the static shift now coming in for the Yasuo. So they're halfway to that 100% crit chance we're talking about. Ender just waiting for that IE if he wants to go for the more aggressive route. Could continue the defensive trend, though, and go for the Starix Gate.
There's definitely a lot options special. I'm liking what I'm seeing. It's the first time we've seen them up as 5 members and try to have some control over the map, and that's meant that they pretty solid control over this river. But again, you're going to see them split up, put Jizuke top lane in the short lane because he doesn't have TP. He needs to stay actually pretty close towards that Baron, and Cabochard, who has the global teleport, can go bottom lane, clear away these waves, and try to get a push going, so then Vitality can push these side lanes. Then, once Excel are forced to respond, they can look for a potential collapse and a potential.
We'll take some time, though, to find that opportunity. For now, Excel with the lead, Dragons in their back pocket, but haven't been able to turn it into anything greater. Could look to push tier 2s, but of course have to respect the potential of Cabo on the side lane. Spear of Shojin being completed is a big deal, and simultaneously Attila completing the second item on Vayne. You mentioned it earlier, Ender. Massive spike in Vayne's power.
Yeah, it's going to put Attila in a really, really nice spot right now because, again, you stack bolts twice as quickly once you get a couple of auto attacks down inside of a team fight. And for Attila, looking forward to these sort of 5v5s, I think he's to play very cautiously, because even though you're on the Vayne, you have a lot of this slipperiness and this invisibility, you still have the concern that you're a low-range AD carry. There's a Rakan on the other side of the fight. Cadril is also going to be looking for a cast, because the second one knockup lands, that's when Special follows up with the ultimate as well. So position is still going to be key for him in these fights.
Special throwing down the wind wall. So he will get stunned up here. Though, it's going to be a big deal. Jacktroll trying to find the disengage, but now expect leaping forward. Jacktroll, the sacrificial lamb, to get his carry and jungler out to safety, but Excel now a priority over mid lane. Can't just walk straight towards that pit.
I mean, Vitality just sort of got bamboozled right there. They were still, like, there's no way they engage on us right here, but it's Excel with the 5-man unit all collapsing towards that middle lane, and now
another
going in.
Engage! Immediately Mowgli's deleted, now it's free access to the pit. Attila needs to find something back here, but it's 5 members strong. Requiem now used to lower those health bars to try to from getting anything else. Cabochard is on the way up. Jizuke is here. Attila is here. The 3 damage threats on the side of Vitality available, but it's going to fight if they want to come out on. It's going to be split. This pit is towards the top side. Attila and Cabo, they've got to make it happen. Okay, on the backside. Too late. The Akali can get nothing. XL right back onto the Baron. Jizuke, there's no way he can get anything done here. Just trying to fire back, just trying to deny this one. He cannot take it. The Baron now down. Jizuke has to run for his life, but he's knocked out. It's goodbye to the mid lane of Vitality and Excel in clear control of the game.
What a decisive play there from Excel. It starts off in the mid lane where Special just sort of runs at Vitality. It looks like a 1v3, so they turn around trying to fight. You can see expect Jessica, Cadril all on here towards the flank, and with Jacktroll down, there's no way to get vision inside of the river. It's been completely cleared away, so Mowgli trying to face check, trying to, if Excel are indeed on the Baron, just throws away his life, and the rest of Excel burn and eventually get that full turnaround here because they still have the Gragas cast. They do remember immediately Attila to easily win the fight.
So well played by the side of Excel, Ender. Just incredible. When we saw those individual solo lanes getting outclassed to a certain degree, when Vitality were finding those kills, I didn't know if they could find a way back into this game, but they have been dominating as a team. And now we take a look at the standings. Yes, Excel are locked out, but it is a neck-and-neck battle right now for Vitality to hold on to their chances in second place. They've got some big head-to-heads. Things looked good for them, but losing these kind of games, when Splice is winning, when Origin could potentially win later in the day, could count them out of contention. So,
and what a heartbreak that would be to not get the guaranteed seed in Tournam, to not worst top inside the league. Here we go.
Just deleted. Mowgli doesn't get a head play, though, so has to be careful. Wind wall is now down. Attila still very healthy, and they have to walk through the towers to get it done. Guardian going to shield up a lot of that damage, and the tower will fall. Looks like an inhibitor could follow, expect on the bottom.
And they're just going to easily take this mid lane inhibitor. They're going to easily take the bottom lane as well, because it's 25 seconds before Mowgli can respawn. Expect has the minions here ready to go for the push. What a move out of Excel. This team went from 0 to 100 real quick.
Absolutely did, and now they're not going to stop. Attila's now in trouble. The team has to leap in for Coling to stop him from getting dropped out. Can end the game right here. Ender cannot believe it. Cabo desperately going for the play, but the health bar's just not big enough. It's too late in the game. The Reactant no longer a threat. Lucian, expect on the front line. Jessica going to clean it up with a double kill. The Akali goes back into the Shroud. That's the only place she's safe. The second she leaps out, she's now in trouble. Jizuke wants to get it back, but Special on a killing spree. Excel taking down Vitality. The race for second gets more and more close in every game.
I don't know what just happened. Excel, they were playing a close game up against Vitality for 25 minutes, and then at the 25-minute mark, they said, we want this game to end. It was a clever play that baited in members of Vitality, and then they just abused their vision dominance over the Barren River in a very clean play to end the game.
And Ender, we talked about this being a summer split project. And in terms of standings, it absolutely will be. But in terms of games, that was a fantastic game for Excel, taking down Vitality. Huge for the standings implication. The most you can hope for when you're already locked out yourself. And you're in that Dream Crush bracket, baby. You are just there to ruin other people's day. And Excel definitely did the job of that.
They definitely did. And for this team, the thing that sort of gives me the most hope is it wasn't them coming in and just crushing, right, and getting a lot of kills and then sort of snowballing a victory. No, they actually struggled a little bit in the solo lanes. They were playing around Jeskla and the new player of Mystiques on, forcing plays, forcing engagements to gain complete control over the map and just have sort of a picture-perfect finish.
Mystiques, once again, just I forget, so new to that first actually looks so confident, but now in his third game, looking fantastic on this Rakan, finding these clutch engages, and you know, 9-5, Rakan buffs looking pretty good today.
Definitely looking good, and it's the full rookie bottom lane, right? Because it used to be just Kasing, and Kasing was sort of the veteran, you know, calm head to bring this AD carry into the league.
No calm heads, give me those aggressive engages. And let's take Ender, let's look at that final fight one more time, because it was, I mean, it was a thing of beauty, right? This is...
Oh, let's just watch them kill the Nexus.
Yeah, this is them. Oh, this is a, yeah.
Yeah, wow, he died very quickly, and then Expect does some nasty things on the back line here.
This, to be fair, they're like, we got the final fight ready for you. I was like, oh, sick. One of the ones around Baron. This fight. And this is what it looks. Team has Baron, and it is frankly easier to execute the later you get into the game. They just get to roll over you.
Yeah, I mean, a fight sort of implies that both sides have a chance coming in, and that didn't exist here for Vitality. So this is the play, right, where they sort of run down Jack Troll, and then Mowgli's like, I guess I gotta walk in and get some vision. I guess I gotta die. Get him out of here.
Yeah, you just can't. I said face-checking Renekton was bad news. Face-checking the Gragas jungle also feels bad. Not something you expect, but...
And then watch this cast right here. On top of the ward, the double ulti into the last breath. Woo!
And that was dirty. Ender, one of my most favorite interactions in the game, hands down, is Gragas cast plus Yasuo ulti, because you stop the knockback and you keep them contained in that little circle right as you push R, and then Rakan gets the follow-up CC, and it's a thing of beauty to watch. Now, it's still Yasuo, so I still have mixed feelings about it overall, but well played. The wit's end, still skeptical. The rest of the game, very well played. Now, there's not a lot of chances left for players to get key of the game, ladies and gentlemen, at home. And if you want your favorite to win, you need to head over to @WoWEsports on Twitter and vote. This time, Expect, Kadril, and Jeskla are your options. Of course, always hard to narrow it down to 3 in a game like that, but those are your standouts.
That's what you got to work with. I'm not here to vote. The fans are here to vote.
That's an interesting. We usually just try to sway the vote, but I'll take that.
I'm keeping it clean.
We're non-partial. All right. Well, we're closing out the day with a pivotal matchup as Origin look for a big win in the battle for second place, while Schalke No Fear have their eyes set on playoffs. Retreat. Jizuke ready to punish. The flash forward. First blood.
Actually, it's about the mid lane.
Well, now go in. Cabochard going to use the ultimate special now, running for his life. Misses the Q there, and is going to have to try to dash to safety. Wind wall's there. Wants to reset. Can't get it. He's going to fall. Now they're going to try to turn on the Cabochard. This is a very risky play, but he just uses the ultimate, and he's going to walk away. Much more even matchup than many people would have expected. Jizuke now in trouble to chase. Oh!
Attila and Cabo from underneath. They've got to make it happen.
Turning. Jizuke on the backside. It's too little too late. Excel taking down Vitality. The race for second gets more and more close in every game.